Check it out. Thursdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Eastern. A healthy dose of Jersey Girl wisdom. Live with Rev Jersey Girl. Sponsored by New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And just to have a little fun, and because I'm currently part of the New Jersey Facebook page, Jersey Roots Facebook page, I want to do a shout out to them. I basically want to say, how you doing? which is pretty spot on for the way that I would have spoken to you with my Jersey City roots many years ago. But I do love being a Jersey girl, and I love coming to you with my enthusiasm. Give me 1 second. I am logging out 1 second, so I'm not interrupted. There we go. So I'm here today in different surroundings again, and because I'm adjusting to life. And I don't know about any of you, but have you ever noticed that life wins? Life and all of its stimulation and all of its changes and the ups and the downs. And all you and I can do is basically kind of ride the waves. I put a post on Facebook the other day, and I can't remember exactly, I can't even quote myself. I don't remember exactly what it said, but I put something in there that says, I think I do remember, the person who rises at the end of the day, which I didn't want to say the person who wins, but that's what I really meant, but wins within themselves. The person who rises at the end of the day is the one who learns how to navigate and handle disappointment and upset, something like that. And so life is that way. Life, even those of you who have a beautiful, glorious life that is filled with the miraculous and filled with beauty and filled with generosity and filled with all those things. My guess is that to get there, you still had to, or maybe you currently are still dealing with challenges. They don't have to be horrible challenges, but challenges. For me right now, my plate in my personal life right now is so full that one more thing on that plate and I will topple. So I'm doing really good self-care right now to manage and to keep things within the realm of what I'm capable of. You don't know this, but I just looked out to my right, and what do I see is a baby doe with its mama. How lovely is that? I'm sitting in Morris Plains, New Jersey, for those of you who might be wondering. So life really is about building our emotional muscles to be able to handle life, to become strong, and to not allow the waves to wash us over. Okay. Those of you who are landlocked states, if you've never been in the ocean, you might not know of what I'm referring to. But for those of you who live near the ocean, who have ever been to the ocean, you know that you could be playing at the edge of the water, and sometimes when the water is strong, the waves are strong. No matter how good of a swimmer you think you are or how strong you are, the wave can take you over. It can take you down. And so that's what life is about. And one of the things that I'm most proud of in my work, in what I've done over the past, 20 years as a minister, but even longer, is to develop a prayer practice and a forgiveness practice. And I just want to give you guys a heads up that next week, next Tuesday, we start with my forgiveness course again. And God, this is one of the times when I say, God bless Reverend Jim Stark for consistently supporting me in this journey. But we watch people get it. We watch people heal. We watch people fall in love with themselves. And it's truly a beautiful thing. So Diego has a link here that you can find out about it. And it's called No Mud, No Lotus, A Journey into Forgiveness. And it does start next Tuesday night. And especially if you are a minister, a practitioner, a chaplain, a counselor of any kind, and even though you have lots of credentials and lots of practice, there is a beauty in surrendering and being part of a group that's moving through this stuff together. So I invite you to come and join me. So one of the things that I've been talking a lot about lately is about finding your posse and the importance of being absolutely surrounded with people who love you, who believe in you, and who are willing to know truths for you that you might not be able to know for yourself at any given moment. And so I have a friend here and a congregant and someone who I've watched in his journey for many years now, and his name is Gary Frank, and I want to invite Gary into the studio. And
Poof.
There he is. Poof, there you are.
Here we
Hello,
are.
Gary. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Fun
All
to
right.
be here.
Good to have you. So Gary, we've known each other for many years now, and we've actually been watched, and our journeys have intersected over the years, even with you at some point supporting us in the center. You've done some editing for me because Gary, I'm going to ask him to tell you all about himself in a minute, but Gary is an author and with a variety of backgrounds. So Gary, talk to us a little bit about your passion. And oh, thank you, Kathy. Yes, that is about the forgiveness course. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So Gary, tell us a little bit about who you are. Oh, there's Gary. There's Ty saying hello.
Hi.
You have a fan.
Sweet. All right. So for many years, I've done the writing thing. I have two traditionally published horror novels out there: Forever Will You Suffer and Institutional Memory. And I also play guitar and sing, and I've done a number of cafe shows, Barnes and Noble shows. I even joined the center band for a short period of time, and that was a lot of fun. And I guess I'm just an overall creative person: poetry, photography, art. I draw, and I'll put that in quotes. I take a pencil to paper, and God knows what comes out.
Uh-huh. Okay. So the one of the things too, I want to make sure that everyone knows about you, because I'm always in admiration of individuals and families who adopt children. And you and your wife Nancy, talk to us about that choice and who's that beloved child that lives in your home now.
So a number of years ago, we were looking to adopt, and we tried domestic, and that didn't work. And of course, it's very funny, the whole adoption thing, because while you're doing domestic, everybody tells you to do international, and when you decide on international, everybody says, "Nah, do domestic." Anyway, so the short story is, we took a flight over to China and adopted our son. He was 18 months at 18 months old at the time, and he's 12 now, and he's huge. He's practically a foot taller than me. I don't know what he's been eating, but he's very very tall, and he's just finishing up 6th grade, and he's looking forward to the summer, and it's been quite a wild journey.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that that's a big deal. And of course, in our community, and Gary is a member of CSL North Jersey, which currently is 95% virtual. And we are located well, we're located on the airwaves. We were located mostly in Essex County. We started in Montclair and then went to West Orange and then Caldwell, New Jersey. So we've been moving around a little bit. So in that community where Gary and I belong, we have a number of families who have adopted children. And I'd like to speak to that for a minute, because I think that is a very generous act, that I don't know that I personally would have. I don't know if I could have done that. Maybe. I'm not saying I couldn't, but I think that's really special. So can you talk to me a little bit about the process that you and your wife, Nancy, went through to have that happen?
Yeah, we went around and went through different agencies, both on the domestic front and the once we stopped with the domestic and went with the international, we found an agency that we liked. And it's a lot of paperwork. It's running to New York City, going to the Chinese embassy to get forms stamped and signed and checks handed over and all of that kind of thing. And then we were, you have to fill out the paperwork to get the process started. And then working with the agency at one point, December 3rd of 2009, we received a packet with photos of this boy. And that we said yes. And by the end of March, we were flying to China. And for those of you who have not flown to China before, it's about 12 hours.
So, I'd like you to also share, if you don't mind, about the internal process and the process between you and Nancy and that decision and what it took, and how you came to that.
After a couple of domestic adoptions that didn't quite go the right way, that fell through, we decided that international had a much better chance of working out. And you go through things, or I went through a period of time where I had to be adaptable to having a child that wasn't biological. And I know
that's what I'm talking about.
That's a challenge,
Right.
But that it was more important that we had one, that we had a child in our life, and two, that we took a child that was at an orphanage and gave him a home, gave him a life. Of course you wonder what would have happened had he stayed, and with the domestic adoptions that didn't work, what those kids wound up being like, what kind of life they had. And you make your choice and you move forward, and it's not. I'll be honest here. There's a lot of well, how much did you pay? And that's not what this is about. It's not. It's about love. It's about giving a baby a home, a chance, and having that child in our lives, and that's the most important thing.
It's funny, and now that we're talking about this, all of a sudden I'm thinking I should have all of the families that we have in our community that have adopted a child, and have you all on the show at the same time.
Sweet.
Because it really is a beautiful thing, and I've watched a lot of the process that you all have that you've gone through. So yeah, I think maybe I'll schedule that. I'll get that on the calendar, which would be lovely.
And I'll be clear, from the get-go, we taught him he was adopted. Because at some point he was going to look in the mirror next to me and be like, something's amiss.
Right.
Better that he knows right off. We saw no reason to keep it hidden. Because eventually it wouldn't be, and then we'd have to deal with the repercussions of however many years in between, that we didn't tell him. And, we had books on adoption, and, books on Chinese babies and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
it worked out very well.
Yeah, beautiful. Um, oh my God, I got distracted by something you said. I had another question for you, but I suddenly can't remember what it was. Um, oh yes, I do. There's somebody in one of our other groups, in our social activism group that we have at the center, Healing the Divide. I think it was there, and this they had a Oh, I remember who it is now. And she has an adopted child or children. I can't remember, one or two. She's not in our community. And what they do is they celebrate a gotcha day. And I thought, oh, I love that. The day where they got the child. So they call it a gotcha birthday. And I'm just sharing that for fun because I really do admire people who open their home as Nancy, and invite in these precious beings. And I'm going to do a little commercial, and then I want to ask you about your creativity and your authorship and such. So this is New Thought Media Network. We are here 7 days a week. I don't know that we're here 24 hours a day, but the music is. And Reverend Robert and his crew continue on a volunteer basis to bring in brilliant programming, prayer, visioning, meditation, interviews, just beautiful and precious things and beautiful and precious people. And so I invite you again, as I do each and every week, to offer your financial support to this. Oh, look at that. Isn't somebody getting fancy here? So there is a whole bunch of the programming that goes on. Matter of fact, today I'm going to be on The Joy Is In with Gina. I'm coming back to you later today at 3:00, as if you don't get enough of me. But I'll be back at 3:00 today. So please, if you will, with your generosity, just give to this radio station. They are really doing good work. And I for one, remember the way I used to say it in our community when times were tough is, if we no longer existed, what would you do? And so that's the question to answer. If we no longer existed, would you miss the programming? And my guess is that you would. So anyway, thank you for indulging me in that request. And so, Gary, um, I know you a number of years now, and I have to be honest with you. I have never been able to reconcile you with the author of horror books. How tell us about that? How was it, out of all the subjects, that's what got your attention? I mean, I can't even watch a horror movie, so I'm sorry to tell you I've not read the books because of the subject matter. But go ahead, tell us.
Just to round out the last conversation, we do have what we call Family Day, so
Okay.
that's the same kind of thing. So the horror thing. So way back in my youth, back in the 80s, I was a big fan of science fiction, fantasy, and horror novels, stories. I just like the creativity of the author and that unsettling feeling of being afraid of something, the dark and whatnot. And so I wrote a lot of that. And somewhere in the early 90s, I started working in a bookstore and surrounded by mainstream fiction people. And that brought me into writing mainstream fiction, which didn't quite go anywhere, though it did produce a bunch of novels that I have kicking around my house. One day I was on a bike ride and I wondered about one particular novel. It was about a band and a stalker. And I thought, what if I made the stalker something other than human? And that opened a whole new world of creativity. And thus was born Forever Will You Suffer, which is the first novel.
Okay.
And my mind just travels along creepy lines. The second novel,
but it doesn't go along with who you are.
It kind of does.
Does it?
It's all one. That's what they tell me, at least.
Uh-huh.
The second novel, Institutional Memory, is about corporate fatigue syndrome. But I was walking through a building job I was at, And I thought, what if I'm like the red blood cells keeping the building alive, and the hallways are like the veins in the arteries? And that just kind of led me to writing this book, which is about
Wow.
that statement, this job really sucks the life out of you. It's because something is possessing the building and literally sucking the life out of people. It's just fun. It's I don't lean towards the gore end of horror. I'm more into the psychological kind of
Okay.
thrillerish stuff. But there's some dicey scenes in my books that I don't recommend for young audiences.
Okay. So who is your favorite author out there who is an inspiration for you?
My friend Jack Ketchum,
Okay.
uh, who sadly died a few years ago from cancer, one of the most incredible writers because he knows how to uh, draw emotion, how to feel for the characters like very few
Hmm.
other writers. Gary Braunbeck is another who I think does a fantastic job. And
Hmm.
the thing with Jack Ketchum is his horror is based on news events. So he would
Hmm.
write about a murder mystery and embellish it in his own unique fashion. So there aren't like vampire stories or supernatural stuff
Got
because
it. Hmm.
other people do it better. Mainstream wise, Arthur C. Clarke and Ray Bradbury, or science fiction writers, are just
Okay.
fantastically creative. Neil Gaiman
Uh-huh.
too, while we're on that subject.
Okay. Okay. You know, I'm a movie person. I read a lot of books, but the books I read are different type of book. Um, and one of the things because I'm a lightweight is I love M Night Shyamalan. Is that how you say his last name? Shyamalan. And
It's something close.
because I because talk about the twists, and I think he leads you up to the door, but I can feel safe that on the other side of that door, no one's going to come at me with a hatchet.
Very true.
I really am a lightweight when it comes to that. Although the truth is, there's a lot of other things that I watch that people would probably be shocked, but that goes into my own psychology. I'm going to leave that there. So, talk to me about then. So you're an author. You're in a loving family who have adopted this child. That's another aspect of your personality, and you found your way into Science of Mind, and you found your way into. I think you were in another community prior to settling in ours. Talk to me about what that has been, what how that has supported you being in a community such as ours, in a metaphysical community such as
Sure.
Science of Mind.
I just want to say one more thing about horror writing, which is probably going to blow your mind. Horror, the genre, is about the inner strength of the human spirit overcoming extraordinary odds.
Okay,
So the survivors are those who found within themselves enough fortitude and strength and courage to rise up above whatever the thing is.
got
And
it.
that to me is life. You know,
Yes, yeah,
obviously, when we're talking horror and supernatural, it's on a much darker scale.
right.
Um,
Uh huh.
so there's that. So horror is not just Freddy and Jason. And how did I find my way in? Um, I needed a community that wasn't religious because wasn't raised in with any religiosity. Or spirituality for that matter. So I never really found the religious aspect of certain communities really fit with where I was going. CSL and Science of Mind pretty much fit right in with my own thinking. There's some outlying concepts and stuff that tweak here and there, but for the most part, I think what Science of Mind offers makes perfect sense to me. I like the concept of a divine consciousness as opposed to the religious contemporary definition of God. And the people there were where I wanted to be.
Mm.
In the North Jersey community, especially, I found it very welcoming, very warm and friendly, and I think
Mm.
that has a lot to do with the minister,
Who?
because when you have a minister who's um, emotionally open, they attract that kind of crowd. And so you find that people, and look, not to be clear, there's nothing, everybody needs the community that they find.
Right.
So some people like this type of community, some people like a more cerebral type of community. And it's important to find the one you jive with, you know, and not be in a community that's like, well, I'm not really sure this is working, and dump the whole project, because every house is different.
Right.
And every community is different. And I like this community. And, there's a lot of crossover. So I belong to a men's meeting that is based in a different center. And the guys at the men's meeting go to both CSL NJ and CSL Morristown. And so there's a lot of interconnectedness.
Right. And I do get what you say too, because CSL Morristown is where I became a minister. And when I first stepped into that church, there was a different minister there. And I was only there for a short time and was like, And then I left. And then another friend, when Reverend Frankie showed up at the pulpit, she convinced me to come back. She says, no, this is different. You're gonna like this minister. She laughs at herself. And I thought, okay. And so I agree with you. And so Frankie has been my science of mind teacher. And I got so much out of being there. And once I started in classes, never left. And so, yeah. So the other thing I'd like you to just talk about a tiny bit, if you can, is because I've been talking a lot in many places, wherever someone will take time to listen to me, honestly, is having a posse. And so for the viewer, let me just say, in my mind, I'll just describe a posse as a group of people that surround you, that have your back, that can see your perfection, and that'll squeeze in just tight enough when you need it to help you stand up when you can't stand up yourself. That's my feeling of a posse. Yes, Kathy. Yes, being able to find online communities. You're right. And so, Gary, talk to the people about the posse that's at CSLNJ and the support that you've gotten from this particular posse of people.
Sure. So I'm going to say I'm dense. And
you're dense?
Dense, yes. And I don't mean that weight-wise, because I got on the scale, I'm lighter than I've been in a long time. Anyway, but I'm dense. So when stuff comes up from my past, it sticks with me pretty easily. And so having a number of people around with spiritual hammers is very important, where I can, I need to hear not one person say, stop listening to your thoughts, but 10 people telling me that. And that, 3 could be wrong, but I think when we start getting up close to 10, I think they know what they're talking about. And maybe I'm slightly misguided. And so having those people to rely on and fall back on, and as Kathy said, having the virtual community is awesome, because you're still there. It's not the same as being in person and being able to punch people or anything. Just kidding. To hug people, but it's still having those faces that can remind me that, I'm not what I used to believe I was, and still do to some degree today. But I'm this other, and that reminder is very important, because it conflicts directly with old thoughts and beliefs to say I'm an expression of the divine consciousness. It kind of flows over the whole old beliefs and doesn't hold, the old beliefs don't hold relevance. So having those people to remind me of that on a regular basis, and of course for me, it's a matter of reaching out to them and going, hey, I'm in this the space, can you lend me a hand?
Right. By the way, I just for the benefit of the listener right now, Gary is just moved. He and his wife just moved from one home to the next days ago, like a couple of days ago. So he's sitting on the floor in his home that has not been put back together, just to let you know that that's why it appears like he's sitting in an empty room. I realized I should have given that perspective earlier. So, so to close out today, Gary, please share your most valued gift, the gift that you believe has been the greatest gift from this teaching that has supported you.
I would say that would be my voice. I don't mean my speaking voice. I mean the one that allows me to get up in front of people with my guitar and you know, the Posse in the center giving me courage and constantly reminding me that I am a creative being, and that singing and playing guitar is a way to share myself, to give back, to lift people up out of their space. Especially over the last couple of years, that I can do that and take them away from whatever doldrums they're facing, and to know that, you know, that there's hope, that there's love, that there's all of this, especially in terms of singing songs that have spiritual deepness to them, that people can relate to. Love My Life by Robbie Williams is a perfect example of that. I am powerful, I am beautiful, I am wonderful, I am free, you know, that kind of thing. And I hope I didn't step on copyright infringement by doing that, but I think we should be okay.
That I remember you singing that song at the center, and I just fell in love with it.
It was so heartwarming. It was
I
an
remember
emotional experience to sing that and own. I mean, Robbie Williams is a fantastic singer, but to own it as my own and sing it and to feel that was very emotional. Very emotional. And yes, I am on a meditation mat because there's no chair. It's just me, a couple of boxes, a computer, and a meditation mat. And I'm sorry for any echo, but we officially moved in on Sunday. Literally, it was the last day of getting stuff from the old house. So it's here we are.
Oh, bless you. So, Gary, thank you for being here today, and for everyone listening. And I know Kathy Nash, and I've known her now for a few years, and Kathy does great work. If I were anyone here, I would work to friend her on Facebook, because her posts are brilliant and thought-provoking, and she is absolutely a social activist in so many ways. But I know that Kathy herself, because we chatted, found her posse. And I encourage you, find a posse of people that will look you straight in the eye and say, I believe in you, and I'm going to believe in you enough until you can believe in yourself. And that is a healthy posse. And Gary, I thank you for being here today, and thank your wife for giving up her time with you, because I'm sure you should be opening boxes and doing all that. And beloved Facebook community, thank you for being here. I'm going to see you at 3:00 if you tune into Gina's show. And as I say every week, be love, be well, and be brilliant. Speak soon. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience, or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. behind the scenes, or being the star. Let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
Faith, love, openness, willingness.